Have you ever come home and found someone else's vehicles parked inside your garage? Not in your driveway, not on the street, inside your locked garage. That's exactly what happened to me. And by the end of the week, the HOA president wasn't arguing with me anymore. She was explaining her actions to the county sheriff. My name is Michael Turner, and I own a 5-acre property bordering the upscale neighborhood of Oak Ridge Estates. My land isn't part of the HOA. It never has been. The subdivision was built years after I bought my property, but that never stopped the HOA from acting like they owned everything around them. Most of the time, I ignored the warning letters they mailed to my address by mistake. But one Friday afternoon, things crossed a line. I had spent 3 days away attending an equipment auction. When I pulled into my property, I immediately noticed something was wrong. The gate to my detached garage was wide open. I always locked it before leaving. I parked my truck and walked toward the building. Inside, I froze. 3 brand-new pickup trucks were parked neatly in a row. Each one had bright magnetic decals reading Oak Ridge HOA Maintenance. My tools had been pushed against the walls. My workbench had been covered with boxes of landscaping supplies. Even worse, someone had changed the padlock on my garage door. I couldn't believe it. I called the phone number printed on one of the trucks. A woman answered. This is the HOA office. I asked why their vehicles were inside my garage. She calmly replied, the board approved temporary storage. I laughed. You approved storing your trucks inside my private garage. She answered without hesitation. Yes. Our maintenance facility is being renovated. I hung up. 5 minutes later, HOA President Karen Whitmore arrived wearing a bright red blazer and carrying a clipboard. She smiled as if this were completely normal. Our maintenance building needed extra space, she explained. This garage wasn't being used. I stared at her. It wasn't being used because I was out of town. She shrugged. The board believed this was common property. I pointed to the deed framed on my garage wall. My family has owned this land for 22 years. Karen barely looked at it. Our records say otherwise. Instead of arguing, I quietly called the county sheriff's office. About 30 minutes later, 2 deputies pulled into the driveway. Karen confidently walked toward them before I could even speak. This is just a misunderstanding, she said. We're managing community assets. One deputy asked a simple question. Who owns this garage? Karen immediately pointed toward the subdivision, the HOA. The deputy turned to me. Do you have proof of ownership? I smiled. I was expecting that. Inside my office, I retrieved the property deed, county tax records, survey map, and building permit. The deputy carefully reviewed each document. Then he compared them with the county GIS records on his patrol laptop. After several minutes, he looked at Karen. This garage is privately owned. It has never belonged to the HOA. Karen's confidence disappeared. She quickly claimed they must have made a paperwork mistake. Unfortunately for her, the deputy wasn't finished. He asked who authorized changing the lock. Nobody answered. He asked who approved entering the building without permission. Silence. Finally, he asked who owned the 3 trucks. Karen quietly admitted they belonged to the HOA. The deputy nodded. Then you'll need to remove them immediately. Karen protested. We need time. The deputy shook his head. No, you entered private property, changed the owner's lock, and occupied his building without permission. Those vehicles leave today. Within an hour, 3 tow operators arrived. Ironically, the HOA had to pay emergency towing fees to remove its own trucks. Neighbors gathered along the road watching every minute. Phones came out. Videos spread across the community Facebook page before sunset. I assumed the situation was finally over. I was wrong. The following Monday, I discovered fresh tire marks leading back toward my garage. This time, security cameras caught everything. Karen had returned the night before with 2 maintenance workers hoping to move equipment back inside. The cameras clearly recorded them discovering the new reinforced locks and steel security barriers. They left empty-handed. I immediately turned the footage over to the sheriff's office. A few days later, detectives interviewed everyone involved. The investigation revealed something surprising. The HOA board had never voted to use my garage. Karen had made the decision herself. She simply told employees the property belonged to the association. Several board members were furious. An emergency HOA meeting was called. Residents packed the clubhouse. After reviewing the sheriff's findings, the board voted to remove Karen as president effective immediately. The HOA also agreed to pay for replacing my locks, repairing the damaged garage door, repainting scratched concrete floors, and installing upgraded security cameras around my property. Their insurance company settled my trespassing and property damage claim before it ever reached court. Today, my garage is exactly how I left it. Every tool is back in place. The shelves are organized. The doors are protected by heavy-duty electronic locks. And every vehicle inside belongs to me. As for Karen, she no longer represents the HOA she claimed had authority over my property. Sometimes people become so convinced they're in charge that they stop checking the facts. In the end, it wasn't an angry argument that solved the problem. It was a property deed, security cameras, and a sheriff who believed in verifying the truth before taking anyone's word for it. And that's why 3 HOA trucks left my garage the same day the sheriff arrived.